Good morning and welcome to the Daily Cyber Briefing for Thursday, the 17th of October. I'm Stephen Ridgway. VMware has patched a high-severity SQL injection flaw in its HCX platform. HCX, if you're worried about the vulnerability, you probably know what HCX is, but for those that don't, it's an application mobility platform designed to assist with or simplify application migration, workload rebalancing, business continuity, and so on across data centers and across clouds. So the vulnerability is tracked as CVE 2024-38814 with a CVSS severity score of 8.8 out of 10. So pretty serious. It allows attackers with non-administrator privileges to execute remote code on the HCX manager. There are various streams that are vulnerable. 4.8, 4.9 and 4.10 have all got vulnerable versions, and all of these are now got patches available. So if you are using VMware HCX Manager, as always, recommend you take a look at the article and apply patches as required. Okay, there is a critical bug in Kubernetes image builder that allows SSH root access. This particular flaw is tracked as CVE 2024-9486 with a CVSS score of 9.8 out of 10. So it is particularly concerning. It affects VM images built with the Proxmox provider on image builder version 0.1.37 or earlier. There's a variation of this that also affects images built with Nutanix, OVA, QEMU, or all providers. But that's got a lower CVSS score of 6.3 for reasons I'll explain to you in a minute. But basically, what the vulnerability is that there are default credentials that are built into the image as it's created. These default credentials can be used to gain root access to the virtual machines. Now, the reason that Proxmox is the most the vulnerability in images created by Proxmox, let's get this be specific, is worse than images created with other solutions, is that Proxmox doesn't disable the default accounts at the end of the build process. Nutanix and the others do. So as they spin up an image, as Kubernetes spins up an image, the accounts are created, they're used, and then they're disabled afterwards, except that Proxmox leaves them enabled, which then leads to the potential for abuse. The solution to this is that you need to upgrade to Image Builder 0.1.38 or later. This version sets a randomly generated password during the image build and then disables the builder account at the end of the process. So yeah, be aware if you've been using Kubernetes and Proxmox, then there is a high probability that the images have got the builder account still enabled with default credentials. The other solutions, Nutanix and so on, whilst the credentials, in versions 3.7 and earlier, the credentials are default credentials. They're enabled, used, and disabled, which means that the window of opportunity for exploiting this vulnerability is much less. Hence the reduced rating. So yeah, if you're using Image Builder, then again, have a look at the article, read up a little bit, and apply patches as soon as you can. Quick update on the SolarWinds Web Help Desk floor. Oh dear. It is now being actively exploited. CISA, the US agency, has added these vulnerabilities to its known exploited vulnerabilities catalogue. Again, hard-coded credentials issue. Vendor fixed this in at the end of August this year, so definitely if you are using this and you haven't updated, it is very important that you look at this and update if you at all possibly can, because given the nature of this, it is liable that the help desk suite is going to be accessible to all sorts of people who may or may not include adversaries. So, if it's internet facing or whatever it may be, bear in mind that it is now actively being exploited. So, if you aren't able to patch immediately, make sure that you've got some very strong visibility around that particular tool, and place it on that sort of high alert severity alerting with your security visibility tool. There's an article in Cybersecurity News that talks about an AI-powered hack posing a threat to billions of Gmail accounts. It's a current attack using artificial intelligence, specifically targeted at Gmail. Gmail's got about 2.5 billion users, which is quite an impressive number of users. And it's used as a way of tricking people into sharing sensitive information. The methods, they're reasonably advanced techniques of social engineering, realistic sounding scam calls posing as Google support, impersonating company representatives, and so on. Sorry. So yeah, it's basically trying to trick users into approving fake account recovery requests by posing as Gmail employees. Article makes interesting reading. Just to be aware of what somebody may be trying to get you to do. As always, be skeptical if somebody contacts you saying that they're coming from a company, you need to do X, Y, and Z, if you haven't had any other independent confirmation. So, generally, rather than engaging, if you're concerned that what they're saying may in fact be true, then recommendation would be to not engage through that method, but go and research it a little bit and then engage through sources that you know to be legitimate. So basically, if somebody contacts you from Google and you are not expecting to be contacted by Google, don't engage with them. You go and engage directly with Google yourself and see if it was real. And talking of Google, there's been some research into exploited vulnerabilities from 2023. The research, I say Google, but it's Google's Mandiant. So Mandiant is saying that 70% of vulnerabilities that were exploited were exploited before a patch was available. Okay. Basically, this is in line with what we've been talking about over the last probably year or so, that the timeline between a vulnerability being discovered and a vulnerability being exploited has shrunk noticeably. The time to exploit in, say, 2018, 2019 was over 60 days. In 2021, 2022, time to exploit was around 30 days. It is now around, as for last year, it is about 5 days. Okay, this presents a significant challenge to so vendors to get the patches pushed out, but it also brings into focus the need for more attention to vulnerability management and patch management within your environment. I would say a lot of organizations think they're doing vulnerability and patch management. A lot of organizations do patch management and think they're doing vulnerability management. There is still in the industry a feeling that patches might break things, so we'll just hold off a bit. I would recommend you take the approach of it's better to be patched than not patched. Patching regularly, patching quickly is important, but also now bear in mind that exploits may be available before patches are available, in which case thinking about secure design and secure architecture, how would you, as part of your infrastructure, as part of your technology architecture discussions, think about how would we protect this particular, these critical components if there was a vulnerability that couldn't be patched immediately. So think about, through design, protecting business critical parts of your organization. Anyway, it makes interesting reading. And definitely something to think about from patch management, vulnerability management, secure architecture perspective. That's all from me.